Hello, everybody. Welcome along to SportsBet TV. It is great to be back with you and looking forward to what is going to be a very interesting day's action on Saturday. Now, of course, the weather has changed finally, and it could be a bit sloppy out there in a few places. I'm recording this bulletin for you on Thursday, mid to late afternoon, where we've just had market raising abandoned with the course waterlogged. So there could be some changes as far as the going is concerned. But I think my selections should cope, all being well. And I have two recommendations for you for this Saturday. If you happen to be stumbling across this channel for the first time, I'm Paul Alster. I've been presenting this service for the last 2.5 years, and we've been showing great profits overall, season to season, year to year. And I'm always looking for horses at decent each-way prices. It has become more difficult over the last few months because of the small fields. But hopefully the change in the weather might see us having a few more proper opportunities. We had just the one selection last week. Didn't run particularly well, this Nagar Oscar, I have to say. Didn't seem to be showing that spark that I hoped he might be off the lower mark. And maybe it is a case of him being a light of former days. But he's certainly paid his way over the years as this Nagar Oscar. I'm going to move on then to the first of my two selections for Saturday. Remember, these are free selections for you here at SportsBet, and the first is at Haydock in the 1:15. Now, this is a 2-mile, 3-furlong handicap hurdle, and at the time of recording, the official going is good to soft, but I'm expecting it is going to be pretty much, soft ground all round. Now, the market will tell the story about an ex-French racehorse who's called Lola Showgirl, who was trained by Dan Skelton. Now, this horse is a fascinating contender because he's a French 4-year-old. He's a listed winner of a hurdles winner in Auteuil, where they have the best jump racing in France. And he was bought in April, after his win in April, by Sir Alex Ferguson, Jed Mason, and John Hales, 3 really powerful jump owners who often combine forces and chip money into some good horses like Hitman and all sorts of other good horses as well. So this one could be anything. The British handicapper knows nothing about him, and he's a 4-year-old taking on older horses. His first time in a handicap, and he's running off 132. So the market, I think, is going to tell all the story here. If there's a flood of money, and it might be that he's a champion hurdle horse running in a handicap off 132, then again, we don't know. Albert's Back is interesting for good old Mick Easterby, who's 90, or is it 91 and going strong. Anyway, this horse went very close at Wetherby in March, and he was again a very good second at Wetherby on its reappearance 3 weeks ago, for which it's gone up £3. Shouldn't be far away, handles soft ground, yard in good form. Find the Time represents Nicky Richards. Now, the Greystoke handler has been having a very good autumn. He's got a terrific strike rate, Nicky Richards. And this horse ended last term with a hat-trick, including in a Class 2 contest, so was very much improving. And it made a very promising reappearance when a 3/4 of a length second on its first start of this term at Wetherby 3 weeks ago as well. It's been put up £5 for that. I think it's a horse who should be thereabouts. Now, the softer the ground, the better for Zambezi Fix and for Stainsby Girl, who had some progressive form at the end of last season. And the top weight, Chaddleton, for Jenny Candler. She's coming back to hurdles after a year going chasing, where it showed some fair form in decent company. And this is its first run back over hurdles since it was third in the Grade 2 Premier Novices hurdle at Kelso back in February 2020. So it will be fascinating to see if Chaddleton can cope with the switch back to the smaller obstacles. But I'm interested here in a horse called Benson. Benson is trained in the Border Country by Sandy Thompson and is the mount of Bruce Lynn, who sounds like a superhero movie star. But he isn't. He's a jockey riding in Scotland, and he's a good one as well, is Bruce Lynn. He's doing really well. Now, Benson was formerly trained by Dr. Richard Newland, who, of course, does really well with history. And in the autumn of 2020, for Dr. Newland, he rattled up a hat-trick. He did struggle last term, it has to be said, but as a result, he fell a stone in the handicap, so he's down a stone. And then he moved in the late summer to Sandy Thompson. Now, Sandy Thompson has a way of revitalising horses that have turned a little bit sour. You remember him doing that with Yorkhill, who did a 66-1 favour back in the day on this service. And also Seeyouatmidnight, who also popped up at 20-1 for us for Sandy Thompson. So he's a trainer we really love when he gets these cast-offs from other yards. And maybe it's the Scottish air, maybe it's the smaller stable, but it can see horses having a change of heart and a change of fortune. And this horse made his debut for the yard at Carlisle. And that was after a 7-month absence. He ran a cracker. He was a 3/4 of a length second of 10 over 2 miles, 1 furlong. And that was a really good effort. He's gone up £2 for it, but they brought in Bruce Lynn, who claims £5. So effectively, he'll end up running off a £3 lower mark than his run at Carlisle. Also, I think the extra 2 furlongs will help. Now, I think he'll cope with the ground. You never know, it depends. If it's bottomless at Haydock, then I will be cautious about getting involved. But as long as it's reasonable, good to soft ground in places, or just generally soft ground, I think Benson will be okay. The only problem is, because I'm recording this on Thursday, the bookies are not brave enough to put up any odds for this race. I'm having to estimate the price. I'm estimating he might be about 5-1, 11-2. We'll say 5-1 for argument's sake, but we'll soon find out whether or not that's going to be the case once the odds compilers start to get to work. But I think Benson will run well on Saturday at Haydock in the 1:15, and he is my first selection. Now, of course, I offer these selections here at SportsBet still for free, and I'm delighted to do so. But a month or two back, I started my Out in Front subscription service at Patreon, which is doing really well, and things are going nicely over the last few weeks. And before I tell you about the winners we've been having, let's just give you an explanation of what it's all about. Hello, I'm Paul Alster. Since July 2020, my followers have enjoyed some really great success here with my regular Saturday and festival tips here at SportsBet TV. Well, now I'm offering an enhanced tipping service called Out in Front, aiming for plenty of big odds selections on far more racing days. So to continue receiving my profitable and enjoyable each way and often long odds racing selections, sign up now on Patreon for my low-cost, brand new live tipping service where you can interact with me and ask questions and comment in real time. So signing up to Out in Front only takes 2 minutes. First, choose a membership, then sign up, add a payment method, and then you'll get all the benefits of being an Out in Front member. I can't wait to see you, so sign up to the new Out in Front real-time tipping service with me, Paul Alster. So that's the Out in Front service. Do check it out. And remember, there are a couple of options about different levels that you can subscribe to. And in recent weeks, the winners have been starting to really flow. We've had wins at 5-1, 7-1, 8-1, 7-1 and 16-1, as well as a number of nice placed horses as well. So things are beginning to gather a little bit of momentum at Out in Front, where, of course, I'm able to put up more selections than is the case at SportsBet, which gives you more chances as well to latch onto 1 or 2 tasty winners. So check it out, please. And our second selection here at SportsBet for this Saturday, well, taking you to Ascot, and it's the 3:15. What a race this is. An absolute pearl. £125,000 handicap chase over 2 miles, 1 furlong. I suppose these sponsors might be just a bit disappointed they're only the 9 runners, but they are a very, very high-class 9 runners indeed. The advance going is good to soft, but again, that could ease. Now, how will that affect Edward Stone? Edward Stone, of course, is the Arkle Chase winner. He had an absolute marvellous novice season. He rattled up a 5-timer, including the Arkle, only to get beaten 1 second at Aintree at the end of the term in a Grade 1 by, I think it was Gabinacco. But to be honest, he'd had 6 or 7 races that season, so I think he was entitled to be a little bit tired. Now, it's really, I think, about the kid to run him in this race. He's obviously trying to get him ready for the Tinkle Creek Chase in a few weeks' time at Sandown. So he's going to run here off a mark of 161. And this would be something if he could win first time out in a hot handicap off 161 with 12 stone on his back. He's a very, very good horse, though, and it's going to be fascinating to see how he goes with Edward Stone. Now, Paul Nicholls, of course, is having a wonderful autumn, and his Time White represents the ditch heat handler, progressive handicapper last year, and he won first time out this season at Ascot 3 weeks ago. He's gone up £7 for a good success, where he beat Frero Bamboo, who was second, and Before Midnight, who was third, and Amula Gold, who had a bit of a sulk on, and finished seventh that day. The yard absolutely flying. He's going to be a danger to all. Now, talking of Amula Gold, I actually fancied him to run very well at a track where he normally goes well. I don't know what happened last time out. It was, for my money, just too bad to be true, that reappearance. And maybe he'll bounce back because he does have some good form at Ascot. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Amula Gold. Now, Dan Skelton has Third Time Lucky, who's a horse I'm sure a lot of you will know. He was a really good sort last season. He won a Grade 2 novice chase at Doncaster in January. Then he was second to Edward Stone in the Grade 2 Kingmaker novice chase at Warwick, which was, of course, a big trial for the Arkle chase itself at Cheltenham, which Edward Stone went on to win. Now, Third Time Lucky is £10 better off with Edward Stone for 4.5 lengths. So on the book, he's got a big chance of turning the form around. And it will be fascinating to see just how these two shape up at the revised terms. Now, one horse who you want to check the markets with very closely is So Scottish, who's trained in Ireland by Emmett Mullins. Emmett, who, of course, won the Grand National in April. He's also landed plenty of touches with his horses over the years. Now, this horse made a chasing hat-trick over 2 miles, novice chase wins last season, including at Carlisle and Tipperary. Now, this is much tougher. I think it's a much tougher task for So Scottish. Now, you're probably aware of what happened at Cheltenham over the weekend when the yard, that's the Emmett Mullins yard, ran a horse called Thousand Tears. Now, Thousand Tears was forecast at 4-1, 9-2, which was probably too short because the bookies were running scared. I thought it'd be a 6 or 7-1 chance. But he drifted like an absolute barge out at one point to 20-1. Absolutely stacked, to be honest. Eventually, he was returned at 18-1. He jumped off, was losing touch after the first flight, and he eventually pulled up 4 out. It was a dreadful effort, and the market had flagged up it was going to run badly. Now, to be fair, the stewards called him in and they got some sort of explanation. I can't recall what it is now, but it was something that I don't think is very good for the reputation of racing. And in the old days, when I used to work on the race course, I used to travel on occasions with the betting intelligence officers. These are the type of things that they were looking out for, that they get information that a horse is not going to run well. I think there should have been further action taken there. I can't see enough in the explanation to warrant that kind of a drift and such a bad run. It was too much of a coincidence. Anyway, that's my view. Another horse that's going to have its supporters is Boot Hill for Harry Fry. He won a 4-runner novice handicap chase at Newton Abbot 5 weeks ago, gone up £8. I don't think it is particularly well handicapped, but, you know, I'm there to be proved wrong. So my choice here in the end is Frero Bamboo. Now, Frero Bamboo is trained by Venetia Williams and is the mount of Charlie Deutsch. Venetia's horses haven't hit the target really as yet very much of late. They've been having what on the face of it looks a quiet spell, even though quite a lot of them have run well without winning. And it's my view that is so often the case with Venetia's horses. As soon as the rain comes, all of a sudden they start to run really well, and then she can have a cluster of successes, doubles and trebles all over the place. Now, I think Frero Bamboo is going to have a big chance here. He won on heavy ground at Lingfield over 2 miles in January off 134. Really good run. And then he was third in the Grand Annual at Cheltenham at the festival when the heavens opened. That was a marvellous run behind Global Citizen off 141. He's been on for 7 months. The yard had been quiet when he went to Ascot 3 weeks ago, was a really good second on good ground, which would have been plenty quick enough for him. And that was behind Time White 3 weeks ago. And he's £7 better off for just under 5 lengths. He'll be sharper for that run. Any ease in the ground, if the rain does come to Ascot, will help him. He's getting £19 from Edward Stone. Now, of course, Edward Stone is a different class horse. It's a Grade 1 winner. But £19 in testing ground can make all the difference. And I think that with the fitness edge, Frero Bamboo is worth a chance. And I think, as I said, the yard will slip into gear anytime soon. So at the time of recording, we do have odds for this because it is one of the big races of the weekend. And the likes of Betfair, BetVictor, and Paddy Power are all offering 17 to 2 each way. And I think that's a pretty fair price for Frero Bamboo. And he's my second selection for you. So a bit of 2 singles and a double, each way double, for those two. That is Frero Bamboo in the 3:15 at Ascot Saturday, and earlier on Benson in the Haydock 1:15. Those are my 2 for you at Sportsbet. Do remember to check out what we have available to you at Out in Front, and there's a link just below this screen that you can check it out. And I'm going to say goodbye and look forward to joining you again next week. Best of luck with your racing this weekend. Bye-bye.